Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
It was named after Vince Lombardi. You play in Green Bay. As important as it is to any other team, it means more to us.
When he walked into the meeting, he looked us right in the eye. He said, "Gentlemen, we're going to relentlessly chase perfection."
My first thought was on any play with my arm strength, I may not let anybody know this, but my first thought was home run. On every play. On every play.
He did what? Fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No!
Welcome back to the Packers Corner. Holy smokes, boys. We got it. Not only did we get it done against the Dallas Cowboys, 48-16 with about 6 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, we steamrolled the Dallas Cowboys. And before we dive in and hear my dad and Schmitty's takes, I just want to look around and recall what some of the media members were saying. You know, Cheesehead TV, another great Packer YouTube channel, put together a pretty good video here. Take a listen. This was pretty great stuff.
Better than a bye for Dallas. I think this is because I think Jordan Love's good, and I think he's going to be very good, but it's his first playoff game. It's a road environment. His team's a heavy underdog. I don't see a scenario where not only the Packers win, where it's close. And
Love, Jones getting near the goal line. Is he in? He is! Touchdown, Green Bay on the opening drive.
Should the Cowboys be worried about Green Bay?
No, I don't think so.
It's a road game for the Green Bay Packers, and their defense has been very, very shaky, to say the least. They're not that impressive.
3rd and 5, four-man rush. Prescott looks, and it's intercepted. Jair Alexander, he's got it, up on his feet, racing to the end zone, and he's in.
There's kind of this feeling of, are the Cowboys going to lose to the Green Bay Packers? No, they're going to blow the Packers out and win by double digits because that's what they do at home.
Pressure, back foot throw, end zone, it is caught for the touchdown. Don Teevee and Wicks.
The Dallas Cowboys in a boat race.
What?
A boat race against the Green Bay Packers. A 45-24. It's a boat race.
45-24?
There's Prescott over the middle. It's going to be picked off, and no one in front of him. Darnell Savage. Touchdown.
But I'll just say this. Every single one. You know how hard we work. I don't need to have people pointing fingers one way or another. You get your in there and you play the way you know how to play. We can win the game. We're going to open it up. We're going to go fast tempo. Defense, get after Jordan Love. You can't give him that much time.
Jones again, running left, running up the middle, and running in for a touchdown. The third today for Aaron Jones. Fake it to him here. Love, back foot, has a man wide open. It's going to be caught by Musgrave, racing towards the end zone. He is in.
Musgrave stayed on his feet.
On the fake. Love zips it in there. It's caught for the touchdown, Romeo Doubs. And that will do it. They come into Dallas. They hand them their first loss here all year, and the number 7 seed. This young team surprising everyone.
Well, give credit where credit is due. The one pundit out there that I saw pick the Green Bay Packers, Sam Ponder. So congratulations to her. A couple other folks had the Green Bay Packers. Dad, you remember what we said on the live show just right before the game went? Let's take a look back at this one. I do love the Rock Man, burning up the stars up here alone. Any chance we really do burn up the stars? We do everything you said. We get the ball, we go down and score. It comes together. We talked about the turnover battle. Dak has one of those turnovers, and before you know it, we got a couple score a lead, and we just never look back. Any chance we get a comfortable one today?
Oh my. Yeah, I suppose there's a chance. There's also a chance that Jair's ankle doesn't hold up and the kicker, shanks one. And and our Joe Barry worrywart defense surfaces again. So it could go either way. I just don't feel it though. I mean, you and I talked. I had a bad feeling before the New York game when we were coming off those victories from Detroit and Kansas City. I think this team has learned something in the second half of the season about how to come out ready. I like the steely-eyed confidence of our quarterback. I just think we're going to be in the game.
Of course, all three of us picked the Green Bay Packers. Schmitty, has there been a more delicious Packer victory ever?
Shout out Larry David. Shout out Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's hard not to curb. It's really hard actually to curb enthusiasm right now with how dominating of a performance that was. Absolutely splendid all over the field. Griffey with maybe the exception of an extra point or two. Um, Wh- what? What was that we just witnessed? Literally, no one gives us the chance there. We go down. We beat a team that hasn't lost in their house in 2 years. Jordan Love, Griffey, that's the sound, the beeping of a Brinks truck. It's just backing in to Jordan Love's driveway right now. The man might get the biggest contract of all time if he keeps rolling the dice like this. Such a hot hand. He looks incredible. Dontavian Wicks touchdown. What a ball! Jaden Reed doesn't touch the ball at all. And we carve up this team. We're scheming wide receivers so open. Musgrave with that catch. Romeo Dobbs, the biggest piece to all this, Griffey, is how we schemed our offensive line to not have Jordan Love be sacked one time. They did such a phenomenal job. Aaron Jones chipping Micah Parsons. They really gave Jordan all the time in the world for him to carve that secondary up, and he did just that. Um, just an incredible performance by the tackles. I'm just really excited. How can you not be just on a rocket ship right now that this team could beat anyone? And I really feel that we're one of the best in the league. We're in the Elite Eight. Goddamn, Joe Barry, Griffey, sign the man, give him his contract. Packers Nation, I know you don't want to hear it. He's coming back. He's coming with a vengeance. I love Joe Barry. I could kiss the man. He has totally turned us around. Jair Alexander, how we were talking 6 weeks ago, maybe longer, where we didn't know where this locker room was. You just had Jair suspended. The kid makes a impeccable play, picking picking Dak off and really setting the whole thing ablaze. What a performance by literally the entire team. We're just blessed to be Packers fans.
Yeah, Dad, you said in that video right before we went to the kickoff, what if Jair's ankle doesn't hold up? That happened. What if we botch a kick? Oh, that happened too. I said, what if we get off to a hot start? Yep. What if we force a couple turnovers from Dak Prescott? Yep, we got all of it. It all happened, and it resulted in a blowout. Man, that was a fun one to watch. How did you feel taking that one in?
Well, we also said earlier in that pregame podcast that the key to victory was to win the coin toss, take the ball down the field, take half the clock off in the first quarter, score, maybe get a 3-and-out or hold the Cowboys to a field goal, get the ball back, take half the clock away in the second quarter and score again. And pretty much that's exactly what happened. And I'm keeping receipts. I got the bill of sale. I want to tell Terry Bradshaw and Rex Ryan and Tony Dungy's another big one, and Howie Long and Jimmy Johnson. Please never pick the Packers. You don't deserve to ever in your lives have the privilege of picking that big green emblem that Vince Lombardi had designed during the glory years of the Packers. We don't want you. We don't need you. I saw about 1,800 stars over there with everybody picking Dallas, and all I saw on our podcast was 3 G's. G, G, G. And why is that? Because the pundits have not watched this team grow up. We've still got pundits like Colin Cowherd saying he can't believe the day and night difference in Jordan. Now, this young fella, this Jordan Love, this is the new Air Jordan. These kids who never saw the first Air Jordan, this is the Air Jordan come back to life in a different sport. This guy is going to revolutionize the game if he's on this kind of a tear. So I know we're pretty excited and highfalutin here. But Schmitty, we were calling you the Rocket Man because you know how you've been up and down, and we knew you were so high, and we invoked the lyrics of that Elton John famous Rocket Man, burning up the stars up here alone. And we said, isn't that something? Those stars on, isn't that what the Cowboys have on their middle of the field and on the sides of their heads? And indeed, we did burn up the stars up there alone. So we sure had a good time in Dallas. We got a score to settle in San Francisco, and we can talk about that in a minute. But man, oh man, that was some kind of performance. I enjoyed that pick six by Savage with the ghost of Tremont Williams running behind him from the big game that Aaron Rodgers had at Atlanta the last time we scored 48 points in the playoffs. How about Jordan Love, the highest ever QBR for a playoff game in the history of the National Football League?
It was incredible. Interesting stat here on that end. Jordan Love and C.J. Stroud, both 16 for 21, 274 yards and 3 TDs for Stroud, 272 and 3 TDs for Love. Not only did Love have the highest QBR in the playoffs since that stat was implemented, C.J. Stroud had the second highest of all time. I've been saying that Houston is the Green Bay of the AFC, and boy, they're on a rocket ship over there too. There's so much to dive into with this game, and there are so many fun things. Everything went right for just about the whole game until maybe the very end there when we let our foot off the gas. But let's give some shout outs and kudos where they belong. Zach Tom here holding Micah Parsons to 0 pressures the 9 times we matched up. Aaron Jones, of course, did a heck of a job chipping on Micah Parsons there too. And additionally, Rasheed Walker, 21 blocking snaps, 0 sacks allowed, 0 pressures allowed. Holy smokes. The O-line was great. Not only was the O-line great, Jordan Love was absolutely fantastic at manipulating the defensive line and the pass rushers, running outside the pocket, dipping back in, buying himself a half second, leaning back to get that extra tenth of a second. He did it about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 times. And you did it to the tune of a touchdown to Dontavian Wicks and so many great plays from him. He had one really fun play here that I'll show our viewers. I got a kick out of this. Looking an awful lot like Favre on the top there throwing to 87. We got Love on the bottom throwing to 87 as well, both against the Dallas Cowboys. That is eerily similar. Pretty fun deal there. Of course, the biggest story is that we win the game and we get to play another one. So we'll dive into some 49er talk at the end of the show here. 2, I got a talker for you guys, though. A lot of love towards Jordan Love, and rightfully so. I want to compare his season to some other guys that, some of the best first starting seasons in the history of the NFL. But let's talk about another guy for a moment here. How about Aaron Jones? Not only his pass blocking, how about him running the football? He's really put the team on his back. We said it was going to be one of the keys to victory. I start to think of that guy. Where does he rank all time in the history of running backs for the Green Bay Packers? Schmitty, anything to say on that point?
5th rounder out of UTEP, and literally has done everything and more that you could ask out of a player. He has been our stalwart in the RB room since he's entered the league. We're very fortunate to have him. He's the pound for pound packs the biggest punch in the NFL. The way he runs, it arm tackles. You can't get him down with an arm. He's a thing to watch. We haven't used him much in the passing game as we have in previous seasons, but we haven't had to. And I know he's been dealing with injuries, but he's been absolutely incredible. I want to put him in the top 5, Griffey. I mean, how can you not?
For the Packers, I would sure hope so, my friend.
For the Packers, without question, right? Right? Top
Well,
3.
no, I'm saying I have a tough time coming up with 5. You got Amon Green,
Griffey,
who is
Amon
incredible,
Green.
0 Super Bowls. You got Jim Taylor and Paul Hornung, really each shouldering half a load, right? And not to take away from what they did in the Lombardi area is tough to match, but you think about Aaron Jones with an opportunity here to go up against Christian McCaffrey this week. And let's lay it out all on the line there and see how those two stack up. That's a heck of a legacy game. Dad, am I way out of line comparing Aaron to these guys?
That's exactly the names I would mention. And Paul Hornung didn't have a big volume of rushing yards, so Aaron Jones is going to be way ahead of him. But Lombardi called him the greatest clutch player around the goal line that he coached, and Jimmy Taylor with those 5 championships and he was in on most of those. So those are Hall of Famers whose names you would mention. Amon Green is the leading rusher all time for the Packers, but I think Aaron Jones, could he get another Super Bowl somehow, would ascend to the top of that list and may very well put himself up in the top 10 category for the whole NFL as far as clutch running backs, not just rushing yards, receiving yards, what he means to his team. He said it a month ago, guys, when he got back from injured reserve, when he said, I can take this offense to another level. And he's not one to make braggadocious claims. I think he was just telling the way it was, and the proof's in the pudding. He's taken this offense to another level. Now it's going to be very interesting to see if we can sustain that rushing attack against the 49ers, because they're going to come loaded to, load up that box. I don't know if you saw, but the Cowboys played 6 defensive backs on 48 out of 54 snaps in our game. And so they weren't really respecting what Aaron Jones could do. I think if they had to do that all over again, they might switch it up. But I'm not so sure it makes any difference, because then we just throw the ball on them. So whatever. Yeah, Aaron Jones, big time.
Jordan Love, we talk about best seasons all time for a first year starter in the NFL. I think it's down to these 3 guys. Pat Mahomes, of course, was his 50 touchdown year in 2018. And then coming from bagging groceries, Kurt Warner wins the MVP and leads the greatest show on turf to a Super Bowl victory. I looked back I was curious how these guys fared in their first playoff game. We know they couldn't approach Jordan Love's 99.3 QBR, as you mentioned there, Dad, seeing as that's the greatest of all time since the stat was created. Stat didn't exist, however, for Kurt Warner's debut. He threw for 391 and 5 touchdowns against the Minnesota Vikings.
No!
You hate to see that. Pat Mahomes, 0 touchdowns against the Indianapolis Colts. So I think, it's not all about statistics and so forth, but I think what we saw out of Jordan Love was pretty special. We all know that. If
You
he
got to
can,
add in there that those other 2 guys played on teams where they were surrounded by Hall of Famers all over the place, not rookie and second year receivers. The talent surrounding those 2 guys is not in the same stratosphere. Now, the Packer players may turn out to be those kind of all pro players. We shall see. But what Jordan Love has done with a first year, you got 7 players on the offense that are first year starters or rookies. It's unbelievable.
well, and to your
So
point, recalling some of the receipts from early in the year, and it's clear a lot of these national pundits were watching the box scores from Jordan Love, because time and time again, the second half was really impressive. He made freaky throws, going through a lot of the QB school content. JT O'Sullivan there, and he had great stuff, and he made wild throws with regularity. Now, he had to tune up some of the consistency, but part of it was he had wide receivers running into one another, and a coach who didn't trust him in the first half. He was making them play with kid gloves out there. When
I
Matt
would just say
LaFleur, yeah,
the coach didn't trust his rookie teammates to be able to handle the content of the playbook, so he tried to dumb it down for the whole team. And then in the second half, they were behind, so he had
yeah,
to let it fly. And then he learned, hey, these guys are starting to handle it. I'm just going to open up the playbook.
let's
And that's
do
what
this
the
for the full
national
game.
pundits are not understanding. They're looking at box scores and numbers. Jordan Love has shown this potential. Now, are we surprised and happy to see how he's ascended? Yes. But the evidence was there that this was possible right from the preseason through all the early season games in the second half.
Well, we said it, and I said it in particular on this show. Jordan Love going to get himself into the MVP conversation, and he's going to find himself on a level with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. You guys laughed at me a little bit. Schmitty, that game was every bit of what we saw from Aaron Rodgers against Atlanta in the playoffs. And a year that has a lot of symmetry, 2010, with what we're seeing this year. How do you rank that game from what you saw from Aaron Rodgers back against the Falcons?
I I'll hold. We were on the way home, Griffey, after the game together, talking about this very thing, and I'll hold that game, that Atlanta game, in such high regard. I think maybe the best performance in a playoff game in the NFL all time, to lead that team as a 6 seed in there and literally beat the brakes off of them, just like we did on against the Cowboys. So, were that performance amazing that it's Jordan's first playoff game and he was able to literally beat the brakes off this team. Um, I gotta give it. I'm gonna give Atlanta number one, our Super Bowl with Aaron number two, and number three, give it to Jordan because that game was incredible. Just special stuff. You showed the similarities to Brett Favre, that touchdown. I mean, the guy, we've said it all along now. I mean, he has the arm talent to literally make every throw. I mean, Air Jordan, literally off both feet, just flicking balls wherever he wants it to go. Um, uh, how can you not give this kid anything that he wants in Green Bay? He could be the mayor of Green Bay already. Get him a street, whatever the kid wants. We got to keep him forever, Griffey. The stars have aligned. The sun is out at all times. I'm a real sad person, as very well documented on this podcast. This guy gives me pleasant dreams at night. Let's just keep it at that, okay?
Hey, Schmitty, Aaron Rodgers almost cracked into the top two for Packer quarterback QBR performances. Brett Favre, with his snowball game against Seattle in his last year with the Packers, actually had a slightly higher quarter QBR, throwing snowballs around there and having a good time. But bronze isn't too bad for Aaron. I said I wouldn't say anything poorly about him again on the show, and you're gonna hold me to that.
Thank you.
Let's turn towards the next matchup. One thing that Aaron wasn't able to get done in the latter years of his career was beat the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not even worried about our offense personally. They're fine. We said it last week. We're nobody's underdogs. I believe in Jordan Love. I believe in Matt LaFleur. I believe in the O line. I believe in the perimeter talent. I believe in Aaron Jones. They're going to get theirs. How do you think Joe Barry can prepare to keep the 49ers in check, Dad?
He's just got to be George Costanza. We've said it now for 3 weeks. I still don't think Joe Barry is running this defense. Somebody's telling him how to run the defense, and he's listening to what they say, because you cannot be Joe Barry and play your safeties 30 yards deep and your cornerbacks 12 yards deep on 3rd and 4 against Tampa Bay at a critical point in the game, and then all of a sudden change the stripes on a tiger here and make him into a leopard somehow. So that's great. Whatever puppet is up there manipulating Joe Barry from above, that's fine. And just keep George Costanza. Now, I told you, you might remember in the pregame podcast, I said, I do not want to see the worrywart Joe Barry deep shell defense unless we have a 25-point lead in the fourth quarter. And gentlemen, what was the score entering the fourth quarter? If you recall, it was 41-16. And Joe Barry goes into the deep shell defense, and we had 32 points up on the board for Dallas, faster than you can wink an eye. And all of a sudden, we're jerking the starters back into the game and the whole to-do. So, Joe, just keep it up. Just think George Costanza. Just go against your instincts and make it happen, brother. And then most of all, listen to what Matt LaFleur tells you, and everything will be fine.
Well, I think I've been a little bit less down on Joe Barry than maybe the average Packer fan this year, which isn't to say we weren't down. I wasn't down on him at times, but see, you guys were ready to fire him last year. So this was a tough year and tumultuous for you that way. I've seen some things that I like, and you know what? I think the front office, the decision makers within the organization, if we can get this one done, they're going to be seeing some things they like too. They're going to have to sign this man to a massive extension so he doesn't end up as a head coach somewhere, Dad. That's
Dallas, send him right down to Dallas. That'd be no problem. We'll write him a nice letter of recommendation. It'll be terrific. Jerry can have him. And away we go. We'll get Evero over there from Carolina that Matt LaFleur's in love with too. and the boys can skip hand in hand down to the beach, down to the Green Bay, and live it up in the summer, and away we go next year.
Well, it's pretty crazy. It's a what have you done for me lately sort of league. And, that's the next stop. It's a big assumption to make that Joe Barry's going to hold the Niners in check. But if he does, I mean, people are going to be talking about this guy in that way. And we thought he might not make it through the season a few short weeks ago. So pretty crazy transformation there. Schmitty, what do you see on the defensive front that we need to get done against the Niners? And just from a 30,000-foot view, stylistically, we got to take the ball from the coin toss again. How do you see the path to victory going for us in this one?
I don't think that's necessary to win the coin toss and run it down 75 yards for a touchdown. I don't know if that's necessary. Last week I asked for Quay Walker to we send blitzes, maybe a safety, a corner blitz. I just like Gar said, the Costanza defense, things on paper and on film that the Niners are watching of us. I love to zigzag and betting. We should do the same. We got to zigzag, uh, try some different things. Let's not kid ourselves. This is a David Goliath matchup. Okay, we got to throw the kitchen sink, whatever we can, to maybe win the turnover battle. Again, I thought it was really a key role in our victory against the Cowboys, and then I think it'll again the same. We got to win the turnover battle. We don't turn the ball over very often. In the first quarter of every game this year, we haven't turned it over once. Jordan Love has done a great job holding the ball. 20 touchdowns to one pick, Griffey, in the last 2 months, I believe. So we have a chance to win that turnover battle, and I really think it would be the key to our success on Saturday night. I just solid play. I don't need to see Jair chase a CD Lamb figure. I don't need. I just want to see put our cojones on the table, man up, and let's see who the best man prevails. We're a team that no one wants to play right now. Honestly, we're the outside of the Niners. I think we're the best team in the league remaining. That's how confident I am with the ascension of this team right now. It's it I just want Joe Barry to put together a good scheme. McCaffrey's going to be a problem. That's my biggest key is how are we going to play him? Is that a Quay Walker spy? We got to keep someone on him at all times. They have so many weapons. It's hard to key on one particular person. McCaffrey's an all-pro running back. I think we start there, and then whatever else the wide receivers and Kittle can do to us, so be it. I just think it's really important that we get after Purdy and put him in some uncomfortable positions. And I think Joe Barry has another one of those schemes in him this week.
Speaking of cojones on the table, Schmidt, you made a little bet and proposition to our viewers here.
Yes,
Well,
yes, I
tell
did.
everyone out here what you said, what you laid out there, and what's our status on that front.
Now let me start here, Griffey. I want to thank all of Packers Corner that has reached out to me. I've been getting a bunch of text messages for my new nipple piercing that I should be getting after that Dallas Cowboys victory. Okay, us overcoming them in their house, a team that hasn't lost in their house in 2 years. We seemingly go in there and just literally dismantle them. And so I got a nipple ring coming, Griffey. And again, I want to thank Packers Corner, all of our listeners, the people that have reached out, giving me ideas, suggestions, colorways, maybe a G, maybe I get a G on my left nipple. Um, Griffey, I got a wife that loves me most of the time, family that cares about me here
Are
or
they
there.
concerned?
I got Mama Schmidt's reaching out to me saying we got to pump the brakes maybe on this. So here's my claim, Griffey. Listen to me.
Good for
Um,
Mama.
we're gonna go double or nothing. Okay, we're gonna go double or nothing. I'm gonna get them both pierced if we find a way in the Bay. Okay, and I know it's a big thing. It would be awesome if we overcome. Nothing would bring me more satisfaction if I'm holding your hand in one, Gar's in the other, as I'm getting my chest pierced up. Okay, that would bring me so much enjoyment going into the NFC Championship game. So that is my deal with Packers Corner, all of our listeners, and we're going to give you a show. We're going to live stream it. Someone will take care of this whole thing. We're going to maybe raise some money for a foundation as it's going on for the kids. Griffey, let's have a day. I will be the most ecstatic person getting their nipples pierced on this earth. Okay. I'm so again, thank you, Packers Corner, for all the support. It would be a glorious day if I'm going into a tattoo parlor for something fun.
Holy smokes, they're gonna fill this guy full of holes if the Packers don't calm down here, Dad. I want to get
Well,
your predictions on the game. What's gonna happen?
so can I just point out that this nipple thing might work out and accrue to Schmidt's benefit, because if he can have that metallic body on each side of his chest when he's in the bathtub, considering throwing the toaster in there, we can run some ground wires off the nipples out into the electrical system of the house and just ground that electricity off of there, so Schmidt will
We
be
can
safe
keep
when
them
he's
safe.
in the
Hey,
bathtub with the
safety first.
toaster, in case anything goes wrong in one of these games. But I just have to tell you here before we make our predictions that there is a rift in the universe. The balance of the universe is out of order. In 1998, there was an egregious fumble in the Green Bay Packers San Francisco football game that caused the NFL the very next year to invoke the instant replay rule. We forever have been wronged in that stadium in San Francisco when Jerry Rice fumbled and allowed the illegitimate play to Terrell Owens in the end zone that cost us a playoff game and a possible Super Bowl
In the
that
last
year.
game for Mike Holmgren, we lost Mike
Yes,
Holmgren and Brett Favre
we
riding
were
off
on
into
our
the
way to
sunset.
beat Atlanta and go to the Super Bowl, and we were wronged. And the universe has been out of balance ever since. But now, never fear, we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi, Coach Matt LaFleur, coaching up our quarterback. We've got Yoda, the quarterback whisperer, Tom Clements. And we've got the dark Sith Lord in San Francisco, the evil Shanahan, the beady-eyed Shanahan that has wronged us so many times, including his dad in the Super Bowl. And the universe is out of balance. And all I know is we owe him one. We owe him one for Colin Kaepernick in 2012, and another one for Kaepernick in 2013, whatever you want to call him. And we owe him for Jimmy Garoppolo in 2019, and we owe him for that pitiful performance of he whose name should not be mentioned put up in 2021 when he couldn't score a touchdown in the second half, and we lost on a block punt. So I'm just gonna leave it at that now as we ponder what our picks are gonna be. But there we got some heavy karma that needs to balance this void in the force that is out of order.
You guys got to ponder your picks. I don't have to do much pondering here, boys. I think there's a better chance we see something similar to what we saw against the Dallas Cowboys than we see the reverse. I think this is a 49er team that after we get out and grab the lead doesn't have the firepower in the same way that Dallas did to come back and make it a game. We felt a little bit nervous even in the end of the first half up until that savage pick that, well, we better get some more points. We better keep them out of the end zone because this team can put up a lot of points in a hurry. San Francisco hurts you with their diversified attack. And after Jordan Love and the boys get us up a couple scores, we're going to take the running game right out of it. We're going to see Brock Purdy, who I respect. I think he's a great young quarterback. Some people were trying to, disparage him in the MVP race. I think he's the real deal, but he's no Jordan Love. Packers get it done. Schmitty?
Oh, Griffey. Um, I I really will be disappointed if the Packers can't find a way to win on Saturday night. And I say that because we we were it was all house money against the Cowboys, and we again just destroyed them. And the team looks so good right now. They're on that 6 seed 2011 path, okay, where they look like they just can't be beat. Nothing can go wrong. And I said earlier that I think the Packers are the second best team behind the Niners and the teams that remain. I'll be saddened if we can't advance, because you can't take any playoff run for granted. You get into the dance, just like March Madness. Okay, like you don't know what's going to happen. A play here or there can literally be what wins you a football game, and you get to advance. The Packers winning as a seventh seed, where no other team has done it before. The youngest team in the NFL to win a playoff game since the 70s. It's I just there's something special going on in that locker room. And while I've been incredibly impressed and happy with how this season has turned out, it has exceeded my expectations, and it should have exceeded most expectations for Packers fans. So I do the comparison like I did last week. The Cowboys look a lot similar to what the Packers have. When I do the dude off, if you will, uh, the Niners just have a bunch of dudes, man, that have done it for a long time. You had an All Pro nod to Fred Warner on defense, fantastic linebacker, Nick Bosa. They got the kid from Washington, Chase, and so they have a really rounded team, and that's just their defense. Their offense is incredible. There's not a guy on that team that couldn't bust one off for 75 against you, and so it's really we're really going to be put to the test when we play this team. Griffey, uh, my friend, you're going to be holding my hand as well as Gar as I get n- just needles pierced through me. I might get a lip ring, a tongue ring, one in the top of my eye. I'm not going to care because the Packers are going to win, Griffey. The game, it's in our hands. This is a Super Bowl run that we are on. That rocket ship blast off. I'll wave to Elon Musk as I'm up there in the sky. It is a destiny, my friend. It is a destiny Griffey, I'm gonna have 19 fingers after that game on Saturday night. Someone's gonna have to peel me off the ground. I am gonna be a blabbering idiot, just crying in tears and just knowing that once we beat that team, that nothing is going to stop us. This is a Super Bowl championship in front of us. It's ours to take. We're the team. We are the ones that put fear into others. Packers win 33-20.
Let's go. Schmitty, what the heck is up with that line from Vegas? Did they not see the game last week? Why are they disrespecting us this way?
Shame on them. Shame on them. It's opened at 10 points, Griffey. It's now been bought down to 9.5. People are starting to come around on the Green Bay Packers, as they should. It's blasphemy that they would open as double-digit underdogs when they have the best quarterback in the league. It is an insanity that someone in Las Vegas floating around in their pool, the Ben Christiansons of the world,
Christensen made a
has the
decimal
umbrella
error,
up,
I think.
not a care in the world. They got that stupid tin thing that they're just rubbing their chest on with oils. Stupidity out of them on Vegas. Put the house on the Green Bay Packers 9.5 right now. Griffey, if you don't forget our little Super Bowl run that we have, that little bet we made, it's looking pretty good, my friend. The Packers right now, our ticket is probably 120-1 on the dollar. Right now, the Packers are 28-1.
Wow. Wow. Dad, are we out of line here? Are we a little bit out over our skis, as you like to say?
I have visions of former 49er playoff games than Brandon Ayuk and the running backs running, the sixth string running backs running through us for 200 yards, and us not being able to stop Colin Kaepernick on the read option, running for 150 yards and 75-yard touchdowns and never being able to solve that Shanahan defense. And I'm a minor 49er, dreadful, sorry Clementine. Now, somebody needs to be the voice of reason around here, but it's not going to be me.
Oh!
You get no voice of reason out of me. Because if you were to reseed the Packers today, based on the second half of the season, we would be either the 1 or 2 seed based on our record. and who we've beaten in the second half of the season. The Detroit Lions at Detroit, the Kansas City Chiefs at our place, the number 5 defense of that house of horrors over in Minnesota trying to blitz Jordan Love from every which direction. You never heard a word about Danielle Hunter. You never heard a word about Aiden Hutchinson. You never heard a word about the interior stud from Kansas City. You never heard a word about Montez Sweat. You didn't hear a word about Micah Parsons. And so I'm on the Packers. There'll be no voice of reason from me.
Holy smokes, we're riding high, boys. Well, you discussed it. You let it out there into the ether, Schmitty. So I'll let our viewers know. We made a little off-camera wager here that if the Packers somehow sneak their way into the
easy.
Super Bowl, we're gonna
Easy.
head down to Las Vegas. I won't say any more for now, but that's on our radar. Hey, regardless, we got one more week to come back. You guys got to hold me to this. I gotta tabulate our records so we can talk a little smack about who did the best. Hopefully, we got another game we're picking next week. Thank you very much for joining us here, guys. Any final thoughts? Anything we're missing?
That's the first time you've been pump faked on a guess. I try to get you every time, and you and the old man got you. That was awesome to see.
Yeah, the old jab step.
Griffey, Packers Corner again. Thank you for the absolute astounding support. We are absolutely indebted to each and every one of our listeners, our subscribers. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Just thank you so much. You guys are the reason why we do this. We certainly have a great time, but it's great to see you all in the comments when I have my shirt off. And so the commenters that tell me to put a shirt back on, you are in for a rude awakening once the Packers win on Saturday night, okay? So I'm buttoned up because it's all business right now, but you wait come Wednesday morning when you're feast your eyes on what could behold underneath this jacket of mine, okay? Griffey, I'm going to have 17 fingers, 19 fingers, regardless of what happens on Saturday. This has been an absolute treat of a season. You win a football game against the Cowboys, you get to the divisional. How can you just not be super, just so impressed by this club for this season and really what's to come? We talked about ascension at the beginning of the year and how we had a ball club of unknowns, and we are just trying to piece this all together and see what we have, and we'll find out a lot about our football team. We found out quite a bit. We know that we have a franchise quarterback. We know we have some dogs in the wide receiver room, and especially the tight end room, maybe the best in the league. Just a couple of rookies in DeGuara. Just what an absolute ride. I can't wait to break this all down with everyone next week. God bless. Go Pack. Have yourself a bourbon. In my honor and the Packers' honor, Mr. Lombardi, we're going to celebrate on Saturday evening.
Dad, any final thoughts?
We forevermore shelled down the corn tonight, straight to the cob. There's nothing else to add. Go Pack, go. That's all it takes now.
Gave it everything we have. Boy, the future is bright for the Packers. The future is now. Take care, boys. We'll see you next
Love
week.
you.